Your overall reaction, Mr. Mantashe?
Vuyo, let me start off by taking out of the way what happened at the beginning of the State of the Nation address. From where I'm sitting, I think both Lekota and Julius Malema ran away from their responsibility of representing their constituency in Parliament by walking out and neglecting the posts. You should sit there because next week there will be 2 days of discussion. If you have not been part of it, you are likely to bring howling that you prepared at home and not contribute to the debate as it is. But the patience that was exercised, I think I must commend both the Speaker and the Chairperson of the NCOP for being patient with them.
But if they think that's how they serve their constituency?
If their constituents want to be served that way, I can only wish them good luck. Okay.
Well, we're in an election year, so we will see how that goes.
Yeah.
Let's go to some of the issues that the President raised, starting with an issue that he raised right at the beginning, the issue of racism. Has the President made an about turn now? We spoke to him about a month ago. He thought it was an issue, you know, a few people, few racists among us, nothing really to worry about. But today saying there's a need for us to deal directly with the issue of racism.
No. I don't think there's any U-turn on the position taken by the President, which is the position of the ANC, by the way, that South Africa is not a racist country. There are racists in the South African community. That position is correct. We must not throw away the child with the bathwater because they are racist, then destroy the work that is done by the most rational in South Africa of working towards building a non-racial society. And what he said at the beginning is that building a non-racial society is a journey, it's not a destination. And therefore, let's work and invest time on building a non-racial society, confront the racists and racism as it occurs. That is the correct position.
With the benefit of hindsight and given the events of the past few months, should we have dealt with this issue differently, perhaps, over the past 22 years?
What is important is that in the last 20 years, there has been brushing of each other, trying to reconcile. I think what has happened with these incidents of racism is to actually bring realism to everybody, that we do not brush under the carpet our history. We must confront it and deal with it, and if there should be a rupture, there should be a rupture in actually ensuring that we are adapting and adjusting and moving ahead.
Now, the President going into a bit of detail around you know, how they are going to make sure that there are no budget dinners. We all have to live within our means. But how far do you think the state will be able to go, but while balancing that with ensuring that social delivery and service delivery do not suffer?
The President spent time on that, but he spent a lot of time on fundamental issues that must be addressed. The mainstream economy. He clarified the issue that has been ridiculed by many South Africans on the nuclear in the energy mix, that we want 9,600 megawatts, and people projected as saying we're going to build one massive nuclear power station of 9,600. He says we're going to build nuclear capacity at a pace and a cost that our country will afford. And we're giving ourselves a decade to look into that and work on it. And that was a very important clarification. He addressed the question of the importance of accelerating completion of the projects that are under construction so that we never revert back to load shedding that we last saw in August 2015. So he spent time on fundamental issues. He spent time on agriculture, the agri-parks, the importance of drought relief. The term relief is quite important for drought because drought visit agriculture is one of the enemies, like fire in agriculture. It destroyed that sector of the economy. But more important is the question of the importance of investing in agriculture and actually accelerate land redistribution so that there should be new producers and not depend on few who are becoming fewer and fewer and consolidating into mega farms. the ceiling of 12,000 hectares is quite important, because this mega approach to agriculture is not going to give many people opportunity to grow in that sector. Mining received a lot of attention, and the stability that is there in terms of strikes, manufacturing, and the impact of incentives that are given to manufacturing in terms of sustaining it and growing the investment.
Well, you also made acknowledgements, and as with your labor background, it's an issue that I'm sure is of great interest to you. He also made the acknowledgement that the labor relations are actually holding the economy back.
It's a debate that is open in the ANC. For example, we've said, after we've witnessed a 5-month strike, what can be done to ensure that when there's a strike, you give it a chance, but you must intervene on time to ensure that you do some certain things that ensures that people will work towards an agreement. And that issue is on the table now. And it talks about a number of issues in that regard. The minimum wage, it talks about the tax amendment bill, and all those issues. They must be addressed, but it should not be at the expense of creating more jobs.
But Labour seems to be stubborn that for all these years they have been paid apartheid and slave wages, so they are going to demand more, no doubt, and that's going to increase the public sector wage bill, and that's something that the private sector says is going to take us down the wrong path.
I spent a quarter of a century as a trade unionist. One of the things that is important about trade unionism, don't try to change them. They represent members. Okay, that's what they do. And members of trade unions are employed. And that's what they represent. It is the responsibility of government and the state to look at the social partners and sectors of society. If you are expecting trade unions to represent the unemployed, you are creating a mythical expectation that will never happen, because those unemployed are not members of trade unions. If it is for trade unions, they get better wages and better conditions. That is the brief of a trade union that respects itself.
Shop floor victories.
Yes, shop floor victories. But we have a responsibility that is bigger than that as a society, of ensuring that we create more jobs, we employ more people, then we can talk of decent work. I ran into trouble when I said to Kosato, but decent work you can only talk of when you're in the workplace. You can't talk about decent work when I'm not in a job and try to say one assurance that I will be employed in a decent job when I'm unemployed. And therefore that contradiction is a contradiction that must be engaged, and it will lead to forward mobility.
Mr. Kwede Mantashe, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Secretary General of the governing party, the ANC, Mr. Kwede Mantashe.